Howdy, Immortalium here. Today I'm reviewing The Twin Knights by Osamu Tezuka, the sequel to Princess Knight by Osamu Tezuka. Well, first of all, what is the plot of Twin Knights? Well, the plot is Prince Franz and Princess Sapphire, who are now the king and queen of the country, have just had twin children, basically a boy and a girl. And it's decided that the boy is going to be the leader when he grows up. But this isn't, that doesn't work with a lot of people. So this duke and his wife kidnap the boy and send him away to a forest where he's to die. But he's rescued by a deer who asks the goddess of a lake to make her human. But she'll only be human for, the night, and then from dawn to dusk she's a deer, and if the boy finds out about this, she'll die. So what did I think of the overall plot? Well, it's a action-adventure kind of story with lots of strong visual gags and great kind of memorable characters. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I even preferred the conclusion of this story over the conclusion of Princess Knight. The conclusion of Princess Knight I always found to be a bit... how can I describe it? Well, it's unsatisfactory, that's clear, but it's also kind of a bit darkish, whereas this kind of had a more kind of happy ending, which, it's more appropriate to the story, in my opinion. And I really connected with some of the characters, Pappy the deer that I just mentioned, she was a really good character. And you also come across Emerald the gypsy, which was also another great character, and the villains in this were also really good. So overall, story-wise, I did prefer this, in my opinion, to Princess Knight. Also lots of strong twists and everything. The art, though, I have to point out, Twin Knights was written before Princess Knight. Now you might be asking, how did that work? Well, basically, Osamu Tezuka made Princess Knight first, but then later remade it, and it's the remake, written in the 60s, that Vertical decided to release. Twin Knights, here, is written in the late 50s. So, Osamu Tezuka's art isn't as strong as it was in Princess Knight. And even particularly in some of the earlier chapters, there's actually a few points that seem faded. Now I'm assuming that that's an issue with the preservation of the original artwork. So nothing one can do there. But also another thing I have to point out actually is the gags as well. Like this manga here is from a pure kind of gags perspective is probably the best Osamu Tezuka manga I've read. I mean, there was a cameo by Osamu Tezuka which I think is like his best cameo ever. Basically it takes place halfway through the story and it just had me in stitches. So, from a purely comedic point of view, this is probably the best. I'm just looking at his other manga there and I don't see any that really made me laugh as much as this one did. So Osamu Tezuka's best comedy. Maybe not, but it's the best comedy I've read. So that's great. The fighting, as standard with a lot of Tezuka's works, basically the fighting just lasts a moment. So, it's nothing like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto. So, yeah. Have I discussed everything there? It's only one volume. So it's not hard to, get the whole thing. Of course, as a sequel to Princess Knight, it is recommended that you read Princess Knight before you read this. Also, another thing I need to talk about is Vertical's treatment of this. First of all, the translation, as usual by Vertical, is fantastic. It keeps the gags and everything, which it must be particularly hard considering, Japanese jokes don't generally translate well. So that's excellent. The book itself, same size as Princess Knight, which means not as big as, the usual Vertical print. But, that's fine. And the other thing I have to discuss as well. Okay, you see this cover here. Well, basically, this cover, it's from okay, how can I describe this? Okay, first, it's from a series called Osamu Tezuka Complete Comic Works. Basically, in Japan, there was a re-release where they re-released about 400 volumes of his, you know, for, I think it was cheaper and all that, you know. And, you know, they all had these great looking covers and all that jazz. This is the first time that I've seen anyone in the West use a cover from that. Basically, this is what they got in that re-release in Japan. Which, you know, I really commend Vertical on that, and, you know, I hope that they continue with this move. The only issue I might regard with this, with the cover, is the fact that in Japan, you see, tankobon are supposed to be, you know, they're smaller, a little smaller than they are over here. This, of course, is actually bigger than a normal tankobon. If I just take out a normal tankobon, let's take out Yatsuba, you will see that it is slightly taller and much wider. Not sure if it's coming out that clear. Here we go. So as you can see, it's poking out over here and it's just slightly above the top. You see, in Japan it would be even smaller than that, and so what they've done is that the resolution of the cover is a bit stretched. It's kind of, you know, slightly pixelated and slightly, well, I wouldn't go so far as to say ugly. Like, I mean, it's only if you take a look at the original cover that you notice that. But, you know, that's a minor complaint. Actually, to be honest, even if it is slightly smudgy looking, I hope that they continue on with these kind of covers, because this is the covers I want to see. So overall, how did Twin Knights compare to Princess Knight? Well, despite being a shorter work, at only 240 pages, what a lot of publishers, not publishers, distributors online claim this is 320 pages, but it's only 240 pages. So, you know, it's 80 pages less than what they said it would be, which of course disappointed me when it came, but, you know, that's a minor complaint. That's a complaint on their part and not on Vertical's part or Tezuka's part or anything, you know. So, I actually, to be honest, prefer this over Princess Knight. This feels, it's more fun, it's more comedic, it's more kind of an adventure type. So, you know, of his more children's work, which would include Dororo, Astro Boy, that I've read. Astro Boy being only the first 2 volumes in that little omnibus they got, and Princess Knight, I would actually say this is my favourite out of all those. It doesn't quite reach the heights that Tezuka's later, more adult works reach, but really that's a hard thing to reach, particularly with something that's aimed at children. So, did I really enjoy this? Yes, I did, and I highly recommend you get it, particularly if you like Osamu Tezuka. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye bye.